Okay.
Okay, very good. We're on the record. Do we have Victor Rogelio Flores connected with the court there? Is that your name, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Flores, I have 4 statements of defendant on plea of guilty. The first one is to a charge of indecent exposure. I need to speak with the attorneys. Frazier's not connected. There was, I don't think the original, or wait a minute. They pull it up. We're waiting for Mr. Frazier to connect. Are you there with us, Mr. Frazier?
Yes, I was having an issue with my audio,
Thank
but I
you.
think I have it working now.
On the cause number that ends in 729. Okay. This was not charged. Oh, I'm sorry, it was charged with a claim of sexual motivation. The guilty plea does not have that on the indecent exposure. Is that by agreement of the parties?
From what I understood, Your Honor, yes, that's what we have on the offer.
Is that correct, Mr. File?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, very good. I'll amend it to indecent exposure, no claim of sexual motivation. Mr. Flores, I have here a statement of defendant upon plea of guilty to a charge of indecent exposure. Statement of defendant upon plea of guilty to a charge of theft in the 3rd degree. That's cause number that ends in 731. A statement of defendant upon plea of guilty to a charge of malicious mischief in the 3rd degree and a cause number that ends in 732 with a motion to dismiss the theft 3 charge, and a statement of defendant upon plea of guilty to a charge of theft in the 3rd degree in the cause number that ends in 511 with a motion to dismiss the 2nd charge of theft in the 3rd degree. Have you had a chance to review each one of these guilty plea forms with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Do you believe you understand them?
Yes, sir.
And did you either sign them or authorize your attorney to sign them for you?
Yes, sir.
The elements of indecent exposure are that you intentionally made an open and obscene exposure of your person, knowing that such conduct would likely cause reasonable frontal alarm that this happened in Woodland. Do you understand those elements?
Yes, sir.
The elements of theft in the 3rd degree are that you within the city of Woodland with the intent to deprive, exerted unlawful control over the property of another. Do you understand those elements?
Yes, sir.
And the elements of malicious mischief in the 3rd degree are that you within the city of Woodland knowingly cause damage to the property of another. Do you understand those to be the elements of that crime?
Yes, sir.
By pleading guilty in each one of these 4 cases, you're giving up the right to a speedy public trial in front of an impartial jury. You're giving up the right to remain silent. You're giving up the right to hear and question the prosecutor's witnesses. You're giving up the right to testify on your own behalf. You're giving up the right to be presumed innocent. You're giving up the right to appeal from a determination of guilt. You understand that these are your trial rights. You're giving them up by pleading guilty.
Yes, sir.
Maximum potential sentence on each one of these charges is 364 days in jail with a $5,000 fine, a potential $5,250 in assessments and restitution. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Prosecution is making a recommendation on each count of 7 days in jail with 357 suspended for 24 months, concurrent for a total of 7 days, credit for time served. They are asking that I set a $10 restitution hearing or a $10 restitution amount in the Toads Express case, a $30 restitution amount in the Grove Brothers case, and a $40.08 restitution in the Quick Mart Shell case. And they ordered you to get a mental health evaluation and successfully complete the treatment recommended. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You understand I'm not bound by anybody's recommendation. I can give you any sentence up to the maximum on each one of these cases.
Yes, sir.
You understand that your DNA is going to be taken in the indecent exposure case and put into a DNA database.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Then to the charge of indecent exposure. How do you plead guilty or not guilty?
I plead guilty.
And to the charge of theft in the 3rd degree in the cause number that ends in 731, that's the Toads Express. How do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Yeah, I plead guilty.
And to the charge of malicious mischief in the 3rd degree, that's the Grove Brothers case. How do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And to the charge of theft in the third degree, that's the Quick Mart case. How do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
You understand that on that one theft case, which is the Grow Brothers and the second theft count in the Quick Mart shell, prosecution will be moving to dismiss those charges, and I do have to dismiss those charges. Understand that?
Yes, sir.
If you're not a citizen of the United States, any one of these guilty pleas could result in deportation, exclusion from admission, or denial of naturalization under the laws of the United States. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then to the charge, once again, of indecent exposure. How do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
To theft in the third degree and the cause number that ends in 731, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
To the charge of malicious mischief in the third degree and the cause number that ends 732, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And to the charge of theft in the third degree and the cause number that ends in 511, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
I'm making each one of these pleas freely and voluntarily.
Yes, sir.
Anybody threaten you to get you to plead guilty?
No.
Anybody make any promises to get you to plead guilty other than the prosecutor's promised recommendations?
No, sir.
Okay, I have a statement in the first case that says on November 22nd, in Woodland, Washington, I intentionally made an open and obscene exposure of my person, knowing that such conduct would likely cause reasonable frontal alarm. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And in the cause number that ends in 731, I have a statement that says, on November 22nd in Woodland, Washington, I wrongfully obtained merchandise from Toads Express with the intent to deprive them of merchandise. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And in the cause number that ends in 732, I have a statement that says, on November 22nd in Woodland, Washington, I knowingly and maliciously caused physical damage to the property of Grow Brothers. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
And in the cause number that ends in 511, I have a statement that says, on November 22nd in Woodland, Washington, I wrongfully obtained items from the Quick Mart shell with the intent to deprive them of that merchandise. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
I'll find each one of these pleas is knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently entered. I'll accept them. Find the defendant guilty of indecent exposure in the cause number that ends in 729, theft in the third degree in the cause number that ends in 731, a malicious mischief in the third degree in the cause number that ends in 732, and I've noted on that judgment and sentence that count one of theft 3 is dismissed. And in the cause number that ends in 511, I'll find that the defendant is guilty of theft in the third degree. I've noted on that judgment and sentence that the count 2 of theft in the third degree is dismissed. Anything more on sentencing from the prosecution?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, and from the defense.
And Your Honor, I just asked that we follow the recommendation for this this chart, or for all the charges that we have here. Also, I wanted to add that our client is actually has a plan after being released to basically get, he has a job lined up to meet up with his family and things like that. So he's made an effort to make a plan to make sure that these issues don't come up again, to get his life back on track. So we're just asking for the recommendation to be followed. In addition, Your Honor, he's been in custody since the 22nd of November. I understand that we're going to give credit for time served, but we're asking for all those days to be considered. In addition to also the fees being waived under Ramirez, if possible, Your Honor. And that'll be all that we like to add.
Very good. Mr. Flores, is there anything you'd like to say before I sentence you?
No, that's about it. Just trying to get my life better. That's why I came over here.
Very good. Okay, on each one of these counts, I'm going to give you 7 days in jail with 357 suspended for 24 months. I'm going to run the sentences concurrently, so it's just a total of 7. You'll get credit for time served. On the cause number that ends in 731, I'm setting restitution at $10. On the cause number that ends in 732, I'm setting restitution at $30. On the cause number that ends in 511, I'm setting restitution at $40.08. That must be paid in full by February 14th of this year. I'm also imposing a $5,000 fine on each count, with all of it suspended. Conditions of the judgment and sentence are as follows. The suspended portion: have no criminal law violations, Do not go within 1,000 foot of St. Philip's Catholic Church in Woodland, Toad's Express Mart in Woodland, Grote Brothers business in Woodland, or Quick Mart Shell in Woodland. You must report to the Cowlitz County Probation Department upon your release. You must get a mental health evaluation and successfully complete the treatment recommended. They can reduce that 24 months down if you successfully complete what you are supposed to do.
Hold for a second.
1 second.
Wait, go ahead.
What way? Oh. Okay, we're back on the record. Very good. Anything else from the council?
Nothing to add, Your Honor.
Okay, we've gone over a lot here, Mr. Flores. I've got 4 separate judgment and sentences. It's all written down. We'll send it all over for you. The big thing for you to remember is you need to report into the Cowlitz County Probation Department when you get out of jail. It's in the courthouse on the 1st floor. When you come in, it's to the right down the hallway behind where the sheriff's office is. Okay,
It's just right here across the street.
across the street and down just a little bit, the big concrete building.
All right.
The pillbox.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, sir. That'll take care of it.
Likewise.
Okay. What do we have next?
Steve Tundy, Your Honor.
Yes. You are Steve Earl Kundi, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You pronounce it Kundi or Kundi?
Kundi.
Kundi, very good, Mr. Kundi. Courts found probable cause to hold you to a charge of driving under the influence of intoxicants with blood alcohol content in excess of 0.15. First offense within 7 years. This is a gross misdemeanor, maximum potential sentence, 364 days in jail, $5,000 fine, $3,500 in potential assessments. You have the right to be represented by an attorney of your own choosing, and if you cannot afford one, an attorney will be appointed at no expense to you. You're presumed innocent unless the prosecutor proves each and every element of the crime charged beyond a reasonable doubt. You have a right to a speedy trial. That's 60 days from arraignment if you're held on this charge, 180 days from readiness hearing if you're not held on this charge. The right to a jury trial. You have the right to hear and question the prosecutor's witnesses. You have a right to testify on your own behalf, to call your own witnesses, and to compel witnesses to appear at no expense to you. You have the right to remain silent, and your exercise of that right cannot be used against you in any way. You have the right to disqualify up to 1 judge if you do so in a timely manner. And if you plead guilty, you give up all of these rights, except the right to counsel. If you're not a citizen, you got the right to consult an immigration attorney. The reason is that a criminal conviction for a non-citizen could result in deportation, exclusion from admission, or denial of naturalization. With all of that said, Mr. Kundi, would you like me to appoint an attorney to represent you?
I'd like to look at my own if
You absolutely have the right to retain your own attorney. Is that what your
yes, Your
intent is?
Honor.
Okay, very good. We will
Yes.
note that. Okay, I am going to hear from the prosecutor on requests on bail and conditions of release.
City is asking for standard release conditions. I will, and DUI conditions, I defer to the court on bail. The question of whether he posts $1,000 bail or reports to offender services once a year. This is a high blow. We don't have any history, but I would like to, with the high blow, I would like to have some kind of oversight.
We have an attorney from the Office of Public Defense that sits with us every single day. He'll speak on your behalf at this point. Then you're certainly free to go out and get your own attorney when you get out. Mr. Frazier?
Your Honor, I'm just asking that he be released with standard release conditions. This is his first criminal charge in Washington that we can see. It is a high blow. However, he does not have any criminal history, so we're asking for him to be PR with standard release conditions on this matter.
Mr. Kundi, I'm willing to release you on your own recognizance if you will make some promises to the court and follow through with them. Will you do that?
I most certainly will.
Okay, conditions are: appear for a pretrial January 10th at 1 p.m. via Zoom. Appear for a readiness hearing March 7th at 2 p.m. via Zoom. Appear for a jury trial March 20th at 9 a.m. Have no criminal law violations. Report any change of address to the court clerk and your attorney upon release. Okay, I'm crossing that one out. That's for court-appointed attorneys. Prior to your pretrial, you need to meet with a lawyer. Okay, whether you retain a lawyer or not is your business, and if you don't think you can afford one, we can talk about that at pre-trial, but you gotta meet with one at least, okay?
Okay.
Now, additional conditions, do not consume alcohol or recreational marijuana. Don't use controlled substances unless prescribed by a physician, and then only use them as prescribed. Do not enter any tavern, bar, lounge, liquor store, or area where the sale or consumption of alcohol is a primary activity. Do not drive without a valid license and insurance. As soon as you get out of the jail today, you must report to Offender Services. They're on the 3rd floor of the courthouse, across the street and down just a little bit. They're going to monitor you 2 times a week. They have the authority to require you to take a breath test or a blood test. They have the authority to grab you and put you back in custody if they believe you violated these conditions of release. And so I will send over this paperwork for you, and they will process you out of the jail unless you're being held on something else.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Mr. Kendi. And do we have Ms. Campisi?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Emmeline Campisi, is that correct? Yes, Ms. Campisi, I have here a statement of defendant upon plea of guilty to a charge of criminal trespass in the 2nd degree. Have you had a chance to review this guilty plea form with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
You believe you understand it?
Yes, sir.
And did you authorize them to sign your name on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The elements of this crime are that you, within the city of Kelso, unlawfully entered or remained on the property of another. Do you understand? That's the crime.
Sir, yes, sir.
By pleading guilty, you're giving up the right to a speedy public trial in front of an impartial jury. You're giving up the right to remain silent and refuse to testify. You're giving up your right to hear and question the prosecutor's witnesses. You're giving up your right to testify if you want to, and call your own witnesses and compel witnesses to appear at no expense to you. You're giving up your right to be presumed innocent and force the prosecutor to prove each and every element of the crime charged beyond a reasonable doubt. And you're giving up your right to appeal from a determination of guilt. These are your trial rights. You understand? You're giving them up by pleading guilty.
Sir, yes, sir.
Maximum potential sentence, 90 days in jail, $1,000 and $1,050 in assessments. Do you understand that? I'll say it again. Maximum potential sentence, 90 days in jail, $1,000 fine, $1,050 in assessments. Do you understand that?
Sir, yes, sir.
Sorry, I get going a little bit too fast sometimes. Prosecutor's recommendation, 4 days in jail, 86 suspended. They want fines and fees, and they're asking that I exclude you from the guest house inn for 2 years. Do you understand? That's their recommendation.
Sir, yes, sir.
And do you understand? I do not have to follow anybody's recommendation. I can give you any sentence up to the maximum.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and that, along with being able to put you on probation for 2 years, if you are not a citizen, this conviction could result in deportation, exclusion from admission, or denial of naturalization under the laws of the United States. Do you understand that?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay, to the charge of criminal trespass in the 2nd degree, how do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Are you making this plea freely and voluntarily?
Sir, yes, sir.
Has anybody threatened you to get you to plead guilty?
Sir, no, sir.
Has anybody made any promises to get you to plead guilty other than the prosecutor's promised recommendations?
Say that again, please.
Yeah, it's a trick question. Has anybody made any promises to get you to plead guilty other than the prosecutor's promised recommendation?
Sir, no, sir.
Okay, thank you. I have a statement that says on December 9th, 2022 in Kelso, Washington, I entered onto the property of the Guest House Inn at 501 Three Rivers Drive without the owner's permission and refused to leave when instructed by the security personnel. Is that true?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay, I'll find that there's factual basis for this plea, that it's knowingly, voluntarily withheld again, and I'll accept it and find the defendant guilty of criminal trespass in the 2nd degree. From the prosecution, anything else on sentencing?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, from the defense.
Nothing, Your Honor. We're just asking that you follow the recommendation, and I think she has credit from the 9th of December until today. So we're asking for credit for time served on those days. That'll be all, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Campisi, is there anything you'd like to say before I sentence you?
For giving me a nice warm place to stay.
I'll follow the recommendation here. I'll give you 4 days credit for time served, 86 suspended, $1,000 fine, but all of it suspended upon my determination that you're indigent. Suspended fine and suspended jail time run on 2 conditions. Have no criminal law violations on any act committed after imposition of sentence today. Do not enter 501 Three Rivers Drive at the Guest House Inn. Okay?
Sir,
I'll
yes,
send
sir.
over this paperwork for you, and unless you're being held on something else, they'll process you out. Okay?
God bless you.
Thank you.
Shayla Hawk, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Shayla Ann Enchantress Hawk, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ms. Hawk, the court's found probable cause to hold you to answer to a charge of driving under the influence of intoxicants, first offense within 7 years. This is a gross misdemeanor with a maximum potential sentence of 364 days in jail, a $5,000 fine, and 3,500 in potential assessments. Did you hear me when I went over rights with one of the other defendants?
A little bit, but not really.
I'll go over them with you. You have the right to be represented by an attorney of your own choosing. If you cannot afford one, an attorney will be appointed at no expense to you. You are presumed innocent. And that continues unless the prosecutor proves each and every element of the crime charged beyond a reasonable doubt. You have a right to a speedy trial, which is 60 days from arraignment if in custody, 180 days from readiness hearing if you're out of custody on the matter. You have a right to a jury trial. You have a right to hear and question the prosecutor's witness. You have a right to testify on your own behalf, call your own witnesses, and compel witnesses to appear at no expense to you. You have a right to remain silent if that's what you desire to do, and that you exercise of that right can't be used against you. You have the right to disqualify up to 1 judge if you do so in a timely manner. And if you plead guilty, you give up all of these rights except the right to counsel. Finally, if you're not a citizen, you got the right to consult with an immigration attorney because a criminal conviction for a non-citizen could result in deportation, exclusion from admission, or denial of naturalization under the laws of the United States. Now, would you like me to appoint an attorney to represent you in this case?
Yes.
I'm going to conditionally appoint the Grimm Law Group to represent you. We're going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. That is conditional on you filling out an attorney application and me finding that you do qualify. But for now, Mr. Frazier from the Grimm Law Group is here and he is representing you. Now, yeah.
Can I tell you my story and what really happened?
Oh, no, not on record, ma'am. We'll talk about it after this hearing.
Your
Okay.
attorney is saying probably not in, I'll let you do it, but your attorney is giving you advice not to.
Okay.
Okay, very good. I'm going to hear from the prosecution on bail and conditions of release.
City is requesting standard release conditions, DUI conditions, and at this point, it appears that there was a collision involved at some point in this incident. I will defer to the court on whether to have reporting conditions or a bail at this point.
Okay, reporting conditions are going to be difficult. He's not a local resident. Okay.
Correct.
Mr. Frazier on bail.
Your Honor, we're asking for her to be PR'd with standard release conditions. It looks like there's she actually blew a 0 on the PBT. There's also a blood test that we don't have results for. We're just asking for her to be PR'd in this matter until we get more, clarified results on this. As far as the accident as well, I seems like there's a little bit of ambiguity, and it's a little bit ambiguous as far as what happened as far as collisions go. So we're asking for her to be PR'd in this matter.
Okay, Ms. Hawk, you're currently a Tacoma resident, is that correct?
I used to stay in Tacoma, but I stay in Lacey now.
You stay in Lacey now, and you're originally from the Tri-Cities?
Lacey is Thurston County. I'm not.
No, are you originally from Pasco?
No.
You ever live in Pasco?
I lived in Pasco.
Okay, here's my problem, counsel. I've got a non-resident of Cowlitz County. I don't think I can PR her even with conditions to report to offender service because she doesn't have the capacity to do that. So I'm going to set bail at $1,000. I'm going to set the following conditions of release. Appear for a pre-trial December 27th at 1 p.m. via Zoom. Appear for a readiness hearing January 10th at 2 p.m. via Zoom. here for a jury trial January 27th at 9 a.m. in person. Have no criminal law violations. Report any change of address to the court clerk and your attorney. If you do make bail, immediately call your attorney. You must meet with your attorney before the pretrial that I've said. You must fill out an application for court-appointed attorney and file it before the pretrial that I've said. The jail will give you that application. It's a single sheet of paper. It's very easy to fill out. You may not drive without a valid license and insurance. You may not consume alcohol or recreational marijuana. You may not use any controlled substances unless prescribed by a physician, and then only use them as prescribed. You may not enter any tavern, bar, lounge, liquor store, or area where the sale or consumption of alcohol is a primary activity. May not drive without a valid license and insurance. I said a lot here, so we'll send over the paperwork so you've got it all.
Okay, thank
Very
you.
good. Anything else, counsel?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you
No.
very much. Okay, thank you, Ms.
When
Hawk.
am I gonna be able to talk to Frazier, I guess?
Oh, yes, we'll actually we'll be coming over to the jail to talk to you about the case. And it may not be me, but we'll settle that after this hearing. We'll come
Yeah.
over to the jail to visit.
I've appointed the Grimm Law Group to represent you. They have a number of attorneys. Mr. Frazier's here for the Grimm Law Group today. It might be him, it might be one of the other attorneys, but they'll be over to talk to you.
Today?
Not today. Maybe this week, maybe tomorrow, but I can't tell you exactly when. It'll be this week, possibly though.
So am I gonna still be in here until like,
Unless you post bail.
I
I'll
don't,
ask for somebody to come see you tomorrow for sure if we don't see you today.
wait, so I do have, all my contacts in my phone, but my phone's dead. Is there a way where I can charge it? Cause people over here have been telling me they can't charge my phone.
Okay, talk with your attorney when they come over. They might be able to help you out on that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Hawk. I think that was it for us on our custody.